Jason Mercer had spent his life among the stars, traveling from one human colony to another, always carrying the weight of diplomacy on his shoulders. He was a Terran diplomat, trained to listen more than speak, to observe before acting. When Earth first reached out to the Eularians, a species known for their towering presence and deep, green-hued skin, he had been chosen as the liaison for their first peaceful contact. Now, he stood at the edge of a Eularian forest, staring at a structure that seemed to grow out of the trees themselves. The building was a combination of living wood, crystal panels, and flowing water that seemed to defy gravity. Alira, his girlfriend and one of the foremost Eularian scientists, had promised that her home would feel like a warm welcome. But Jason could not shake the feeling that he was stepping into a political chessboard. Alira appeared beside him, her eyes bright with excitement. "You'll see, Jason. My family is unique, but you'll like them. They don't bite," she said. Though her laugh betrayed a hint of nervousness, Jason smiled, trying to hide his apprehension. "I hope they don't, but I am ready for whatever you throw at me." They walked up the ramping paths of the crystalline steps. Every surface reflected the sunlight in dazzling colors, and Jason found himself briefly distracted by the beauty. He wondered if humans could ever create something this alive, something that seemed like it breathed along with you. But he didn't have time to ponder too long. Alira had stopped in front of a massive doorway, and the air thrummed with subtle energy. A voice like soft thunder came from inside. "Alira, you brought a human?" Jason stepped forward and bowed slightly. A gesture he had learned the hard way was polite among Eularians. The figure that emerged from the doorway was even taller than he had imagined, over 7 feet. With emerald eyes that seemed to measure him in seconds, her hair shimmered like liquid silver, and every movement radiated authority. "I am High Matriarch Seralith," the woman said. "And you must be Jason Mercer. Alira has told me much about you." Jason nodded. "It's an honor to meet you, High Matriarch." Seralith studied him carefully. Her eyes seemed to look past his skin, past the uniform, and straight into the way his mind worked. Jason felt a chill, though it was not cold outside. "Follow me," she said, her voice soft but commanding. "I would speak with you, alone." Jason's stomach sank. Alone? That could mean anything in Eularian culture. Alira looked uneasy but nodded, her eyes silently urging him to trust her mother. They walked through a corridor lined with bioluminescent plants, the walls glowing softly. Jason tried to make conversation, mentioning the latest Terran research on interspecies communication. But Seralith did not answer. She walked silently, her presence filling the space more than her words. Finally, they reached a balcony that overlooked a forest valley. "Sit," she commanded gently, gesturing to a smooth stone bench. Jason did, still unsure what was about to happen. Seralith leaned on the railing, her gaze sweeping over the landscape, as if drawing energy from it. Then she turned to him, and the question came. "So, are you happier with me than with her?" Jason blinked. The question seemed so personal, so intimate, yet he sensed there was something deeper beneath it. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. Seralith's eyes softened, though her tone remained firm. "Do not misunderstand me, human. I do not ask about love. I ask about governance, guidance, the way you see our worlds working together. Are humans happier under my leadership, with structured guidance, than under my daughter's more flexible ways?" Jason swallowed. Relief mingled with confusion. He had expected anything, but this was a test. A test not of loyalty, but of perception. He began, thinking carefully. "I think humans value freedom. We value guidance only when it helps us grow. Your daughter's approach. It encourages cooperation without domination. It inspires humans to think, to act responsibly." Seralith's lips curved into a faint smile. "Interesting. So you do not find comfort in control?" "Comfort," Jason said slowly, "is different from progress. Humans can be chaotic, yes, But we learn from chaos. That is what makes us strong. The matriarch studied him for a long moment, then nodded. You have the courage to speak honestly, and the wisdom to choose your words carefully. Both are rare among humans. Jason relaxed slightly but kept his posture straight. He had learned long ago that Eularians respected clarity. Lies, even small ones, could unravel a relationship faster than war. I must warn you, Sarilith continued. Not all my people share this view. Some fear your species, fear the rapid growth, the impulsive decisions, the unpredictable spirit. They see humans as needing guidance. Jason frowned. And you? She turned her gaze back to him, her expression unreadable. I see potential. Potential for partnership. Potential for something remarkable. But potential can vanish if trust is broken. And trust is fragile between species. Jason nodded, understanding now why she had asked the question. It was not about preference. It was about perception. How humans and Eularians would view each other in the coming decades might decide the fate of both species. I believe humans can be trusted, he said firmly. If they are treated as equals, given responsibility, and shown the reasons behind the guidance, they will rise to the challenge. Sarilith's eyes gleamed, and for the first time, she laughed a sound like wind through glass towers. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps humans are capable of more than I imagined. Alira will be pleased to hear this, though she may argue that humans are capable of too much. Too soon, Jason chuckled. That may be true. The matriarch studied him a moment longer, then leaned closer, her voice dropping to a near whisper. Jason, what happens next is not just about science, or politics, or even diplomacy. It is about how humans will shape the galaxy. Do you understand that? I think I do, he said. And I will do my best to make sure that humans are seen for what we can truly be, not just what others fear us to be. Sarilith straightened, a silent signal that the conversation was ending. Good. For now, that is enough. Come, we will join your companion. But remember, your words carry weight. Even small statements can ripple through time. Jason followed her back into the house, his mind racing. Every detail, every gesture, every word from the matriarch would be important in the days to come. He realized that his role was far larger than he had ever imagined, not just a diplomat, but a symbol of humanity's potential. When they returned, Alira ran forward, her face bright. Jason, what did she say? Jason smiled, choosing his words carefully. She asked a question about leadership, about perception. She wants to see how humans respond. And I think she trusts us. At least, for now. Alira's relief was evident, though she frowned slightly. My mother is complicated. She means well, but her way of showing it is overwhelming. Jason laughed softly. I think I understand, and I will be ready for whatever comes next. As they walked together into the sunlit garden, Jason looked up at the sky, imagining the countless stars beyond. Somewhere out there, other species were watching, waiting. And humanity, unpredictable and bold, was ready to rise. In that moment, Jason realized the question he had been asked was not a test of him alone, it was a challenge to all of humankind, and he knew that humans would answer it in ways that no one, not even the High Matriarch, could have fully anticipated. The future was uncertain. Dangerous, perhaps, but brilliant. And for the first time in his life, Jason felt truly part of something larger than himself, a story that would echo across worlds. A story where humans might shine brighter than anyone had ever imagined. Jason woke early the next morning, his mind restless despite the soft hum of Eularian energy flowing through the walls of the crystalline home. He had slept little, replaying the High Matriarch's question over and over. Humans were known for reacting quickly and emotionally, but Jason had learned that sometimes the slow, careful approach was better. Yet, he felt an uneasy tension deep inside him, like standing at the edge of a cliff, uncertain if the ground would hold. Alira entered the room with a tray of glowing fruits, their soft light pulsing gently. She moved with graceful precision, her movements familiar to Jason now, but still mesmerizing. "Morning," she said softly, smiling. "Sleep well?" "Not really," Jason admitted. "Your mother's question. It stays in my mind." Alira sighed, setting the tray on the low table. "She has a way of doing that. You think she's just asking, but really, she's watching. Always watching." Jason nodded. "I understand. And I also understand that this is bigger than me, bigger than Earth even." Alira sat beside him, picking up a piece of fruit. "Exactly. And it's complicated. Some of my people, the traditionalists, they fear your species. They see humans as reckless, impulsive, dangerous. They think you should be guided every step of the way." Jason frowned. "And your mother? Does she believe that too?" Alira paused. "Not exactly. She believes in potential. That humans can rise to the challenge if given responsibility and respect. But she worries about the extremists." Jason swallowed. "Then we need to understand them. If we're to work with your people, we have to know not only what they want, but how they might try to manipulate or sabotage the process." Alira nodded. "I agree. That's why I've been trying to track unusual communications and patterns in their reports. But," she hesitated, "I'm only one person, and sometimes I fear my mother's influence will overshadow my warnings." Jason placed a hand over hers. "We'll figure it out together. The first step is gathering information. The second step is showing them that humanity can be trusted. And the third," he smiled faintly, "is making sure your mother knows she's not alone in believing that potential exists." Their conversation was interrupted by a soft chime. A holographic screen floated before them, displaying a Eularian envoy's message. The envoy reported a minor incident at a Terran research outpost on the edge of the Andrios sector, equipment damaged, communications disrupted. On the surface, it seemed like a routine malfunction, but Jason's instincts told him otherwise. "This isn't normal," Jason muttered, studying the data. Alira leaned in, her silver hair brushing his arm. "I've noticed something similar in other reports. Patterns that don't match natural causes. Minor disruptions, equipment anomalies, unexplained errors. Someone is testing humans, probing weaknesses," Jason's eyes narrowed, "or trying to manipulate perceptions, make humans look incapable, reckless. That could justify control in the eyes of your extremists." Alira nodded gravely. "Exactly. And if your species responds badly, it could give them the excuse they're looking for to intervene, to dominate." Jason rubbed his chin. "Then, we must respond carefully. Not with aggression, but with evidence, with transparency. Show them humans are capable of problem-solving, cooperation, and reason." Alira's eyes brightened. "We could present our solutions publicly, not just to your people, but to everyone watching. Let them see humans are not only capable, but creative and resilient." Jason smiled faintly. "That's exactly what we need to do. It's time to turn their fear into admiration." Over the next several hours, Jason and Alira worked tirelessly. They gathered reports from various human outposts, cross-referenced data with Eularian scientific teams, and prepared a detailed presentation demonstrating human ingenuity in action. As they worked, Jason couldn't help but notice subtle changes in the household. Servants moved silently through the halls, delivering supplies and monitoring for disturbances. Eularian guards patrolled quietly, their eyes alert. Even the plants seemed more alive here, their bioluminescence pulsing in gentle waves. Everything was designed to observe and respond, a constant reminder that this was not just a home, but a hub of influence and power. By evening, Jason and Alira were exhausted but satisfied. Their presentation was ready, a clear demonstration of how humans could resolve crises, repair equipment, and innovate under pressure. Before they could rest, Alira's mother requested their presence. "Jason, Alira, she said, her voice calm but commanding. "We must discuss the patterns you have uncovered. There are shadows behind the smiles." Jason's stomach tightened. He had expected her to praise their work, perhaps even acknowledge the intelligence and capability of humans. But her words hinted at something more dangerous. "Shadows?" Jason asked. Sarilith nodded. "Not all my people share my perspective. Some traditionalists fear that your species is too unpredictable. Others wish to manipulate these minor incidents to create tension. If left unchecked, they could escalate into open conflict." Alira's face hardened. "Then we need to stop them before it's too late." Jason glanced at Sarilith. "How much do you know about these extremists?" The matriarch's emerald eyes seemed to pierce him. "Enough to warn you, but not enough to prevent every move. They operate in secrecy, communicating through hidden channels. Even I cannot always track them in time." Jason's mind raced. "Then we need to act carefully. Every step must be calculated. If we respond too quickly, we risk escalation. If we wait too long, they could cause serious damage." Sarilith studied him quietly. "I sense your instincts are sharp. Humans have a unique way of observing patterns, seeing connections others miss. That is why I asked my question yesterday, to see if you understand the balance between guidance and independence." Jason nodded slowly. "I think I understand now. Your daughter's approach, flexible, collaborative, allowing humans to adapt and problem solve. It is the key to demonstrating our capability. And your guidance, structured, authoritative. It is the safeguard against chaos. Together, we can show your people and mine that cooperation is possible without domination." Sarilith's lips curved into a faint smile. "Perhaps. But potential is fragile. Trust must be nurtured carefully, or it will wither." Jason met her gaze firmly. "Then we will nurture it. We will prove that humans are more than impulses and mistakes. We are capable of growth, of responsibility, of partnership." The matriarch's smile deepened. "I will observe. And I will judge your efforts. Not by words, but by results. Remember, Jason, even a single failure could be twisted by those who wish to undermine you." Alira squeezed his hand. "We'll be careful, but we must act. Humanity deserves a chance to prove itself." Jason nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. It was not a task he could face alone, nor one he could ignore. Every decision, every strategy, would shape the future of humans and Eularians alike. That night, as the twin moons of Eularis rose in the sky, casting silver light over the crystalline city, Jason stared out at the endless forest below. Somewhere, hidden among the trees and hills, the extremists moved, planning, testing, waiting, but he felt a quiet confidence. Humans had faced challenges before, and they had always risen to meet them. He turned to Alira. "Tomorrow, we begin. We show them what humans can do." Alira nodded, her eyes reflecting the soft moonlight. Together, and together, they would begin the delicate dance of diplomacy, strategy, and trust, showing the galaxy that humanity, though unpredictable, could shine brighter than anyone had ever imagined. As Jason drifted into sleep, he could not shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Shadows may have lurked behind smiles, but the light of human ingenuity was about to illuminate the path forward. One careful step, one bold action. At a time, the morning sun painted the Eularian forests in golden-green hues, casting long shadows across the crystalline city. Jason Mercer felt the weight of the previous day's revelations pressing down on him. The extremists in the Eularian leadership were not a distant threat. They were active, clever, and willing to manipulate events to their advantage. Every move he made now could tip the delicate balance between trust and conflict. Alira appeared at his side, her movements as fluid and confident as ever. Yet her eyes betrayed worry. "Jason," she said quietly, "we need to start preparations today. The minor incidents, equipment failures, communication errors, they're only the beginning. If we don't act, the extremists will escalate. Jason nodded, his mind already racing through solutions. We have the evidence we need, he said. We'll show them what humans can do. But we must be careful. Any misstep could be twisted against us. Together, they moved to the central command room of Alira's home. A circular chamber with walls that seemed alive, pulsing with a soft energy. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing reports from human outposts scattered across the Andrios sector. Jason studied them closely. Each report told a story. Malfunctioning machinery, disrupted communications, minor accidents, all suspiciously timed and patterned. It was no accident. Someone wanted to make humans look incompetent. Alira placed her hand over one of the displays, highlighting a series of anomalies. Look here, she said. This pattern repeats across multiple locations. The incidents appear random to most, but the timing, the locations, it's too deliberate. Someone is testing us. Jason frowned. Or sending a message. A warning. The extremists want to see how humans react under pressure. Alira nodded. Exactly. And if we overreact, they'll claim humans are reckless and incapable. If we underreact, they'll gain the upper hand. Jason took a deep breath. Then we respond with transparency. We document everything, show how humans handle each incident, and demonstrate problem solving. We turn their plan against them. For the next several hours, they worked tirelessly. Jason coordinated with Terran engineers and Eularian technicians, creating simulations to predict the cause of each incident and testing solutions. Alira used her scientific expertise to analyze environmental data, comparing energy flows, atmospheric readings, and subtle biological patterns. Together, they reconstructed every event, showing clearly that human ingenuity and teamwork could resolve each problem efficiently. By mid-afternoon, their work was ready for presentation. Alira adjusted the final holographic display, her eyes scanning the room for any flaws. This is perfect, she said. If we present this to the council, there will be no doubt. Humans are capable. Jason nodded. We'll need the matriarch's support. She has influence over many of the undecided members. If she backs our presentation, it will carry weight. Alira frowned. I'm not sure she'll speak so openly. My mother trusts you, Jason, but she also respects tradition. Some council members may resist. Jason's lips curved into a small smile. Then we'll rely on results, not words. The evidence will speak for itself. When the council convened, the chamber buzzed with anticipation. Eularians of all shapes and sizes filled the circular hall, their eyes fixed on the central display. Jason stood beside Alira, feeling the weight of hundreds of emerald gazes. He took a deep breath and began the presentation. The recent disruptions in Terran outposts were not accidents, he explained calmly. They were deliberate tests. We have investigated each incident and developed solutions. This data demonstrates the efficiency, creativity, and responsibility of human teams working in collaboration with Eularian experts. Holographic images showed repaired machinery, restored communications, and innovative solutions implemented by humans. Each success was highlighted, and each problem was explained logically, with a clear record of how humans resolved it without external interference. Whispers ran through the crowd. Some Eularians leaned forward, intrigued. Others exchanged skeptical glances, unconvinced that humans could manage such challenges. But the High Matriarch stood at the edge of the room, her expression unreadable. Jason met her gaze, drawing strength from her silent support. One council member, an elder with sharp horns and deep-set eyes, stood and spoke. You show us success after success, but humans are impulsive. Can you guarantee this will continue? One mistake could endanger entire colonies. Jason nodded. No one can guarantee perfection. But humans have a unique ability to adapt, learn, and improve. Mistakes become lessons. Challenges become opportunities. Our record shows that, even under pressure, we can respond responsibly and effectively. Alira added, "We also work closely with Eularian experts. Collaboration ensures checks and balances, preventing rash decisions while encouraging innovation." The council murmured among themselves. Jason noticed that the elders' skeptical expression softened slightly. Other members, previously doubtful, began nodding, intrigued by the clear evidence. Saralith's voice rang out, firm and commanding. "The data is compelling. Humans have demonstrated not only competence but resilience. They are capable of partnership, not just obedience. I support this evidence fully." The chamber fell silent. A ripple of surprise passed through the council. Saralith's endorsement carried enormous weight. Her opinion often swayed those on the fence. Jason could feel the momentum shifting. The extremists, though still present, could not openly oppose such clear results backed by the matriarch. Yet, Jason knew the battle was far from over. The extremists would not disappear. They would find new ways to challenge humans, to create doubt and fear. The presentation was only the first step in a longer struggle. After the council meeting, Jason and Alira returned to the balcony overlooking the forest. The twin moons hung low in the sky, casting silver light over the crystalline city. The forest below seemed calm, but Jason knew appearances could be deceiving. "They won't give up," he said quietly. "The extremists will try again, and we need to be ready." Alira nodded. "We'll be ready. But now, they see what humans can do. That matters. We've placed our bet. Jason, humanity has shown its potential." Jason looked at her, admiration and respect filling his chest. "Together, we've done more than present evidence. We've set an example, demonstrated that humans can rise to challenges, that we are capable of partnership, and that we can stand as equals." Alira smiled faintly. "And it's only the beginning. There will be more tests, more shadows. But I believe we can meet them. Humans are persistent, and we are adaptable. That's what makes us strong." Jason leaned back, gazing at the distant horizon. Stars twinkled faintly, distant worlds waiting, civilizations observing. The galaxy was vast, full of unknowns, but humanity had placed its bet, and Jason believed they were ready to win it. That night, as the city settled into quiet, Jason and Alira reviewed the council's discussions, noting potential threats and allies alike. They created contingency plans, identifying areas where extremists might attempt sabotage or manipulation. Every detail was documented, every pattern analyzed. The goal was not to win a single battle but to build lasting trust between species. Even in the quiet moments, Jason could feel the weight of responsibility. Humans were no longer distant observers. They were active participants in a galaxy of complexity and intrigue. Every action mattered. Every choice rippled outward. Failure was not an option, not for him, not for humanity, and not for the fragile trust they were building. As he prepared to rest, Jason reflected on the events of the past days. The High Matriarch's question, the private test, the council presentation, the growing threat of extremists. It all formed a chain of challenges designed to push him to test the limits of human diplomacy and ingenuity. And yet, despite the pressure, he felt a quiet certainty. Humans were not perfect, but they were capable of greatness. That was what the galaxy needed to see. Alira joined him on the balcony once more, her gaze sweeping over the forest below. "Jason," she said softly, "you've done more than I imagined. You've not just represented humans. You've shown their heart." Jason smiled faintly. "We've done it together. And we'll continue to do it, every step of the way." The twin moons reflected in their eyes, and for a moment, the world felt still. But Jason knew the stillness was temporary. Shadows would return, challenges would come, the extremists would test them again. But humanity had placed its bet, and Jason was confident that when the time came, they would rise to meet whatever trials awaited. And somewhere deep within the heart of Eularis, the High Matriarch watched silently, her mind weighing possibilities, measuring trust, and considering the future. For now, she allowed humanity its chance, but she knew that in the galaxy, opportunity and danger walked hand in hand, and only those prepared for both could shape the future. Jason turned back to Alira, determination firm. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with danger and intrigue. But it was also filled with potential. Humanity would not falter. They would rise, and they would prove, to Eularians and to the galaxy, that even in the face of shadows, light could prevail. The first crack in the fragile alliance appeared on a quiet morning. Jason Mercer was reviewing Terran and Eularian communications when a red alert flashed across the display. A Terran research vessel on the edge of the Andrios sector had experienced a sudden systems failure. Engines had gone offline, communications were disrupted, and automated defense systems were activated unnecessarily. Jason's stomach tightened. The pattern was familiar. Too familiar. Not again, he muttered. Alira, standing beside him, leaned over to examine the reports. "This is deliberate," she said, her voice tense. "It matches the previous anomalies. The timing, the type of systems affected. Someone wants to test humans under pressure. Maybe even provoke a mistake." Jason's eyes narrowed. "Or force a reaction that looks aggressive. If the extremists succeed in framing us, they could justify taking control over Terran operations in this sector." Alira's fingers danced across the console. "We need to respond immediately. We can't let them manipulate the narrative. If humans are blamed for this, it could undo all the trust we've built with the Council." Jason nodded. "Agreed. Let's gather evidence, repair the systems, and ensure that the true cause is recorded clearly. But we must act carefully. Any misstep could escalate the situation into open conflict." They contacted the crew of the vessel, guiding them through emergency repairs. Jason's knowledge of Terran engineering and Alira's expertise in Eularian technology complemented each other perfectly. Within hours, the ship's systems stabilized, and the immediate threat passed. But the question remained: who was behind the sabotage? Jason convened a meeting with Alira and her closest advisors. "The extremists are escalating. They're not just testing humans, they're attempting to manipulate events to their advantage. We need to identify the individuals responsible and expose their actions." Alira frowned. "But if we move too openly, they'll hide or retaliate. We need a strategy that reveals the truth without creating panic or mistrust." Jason tapped the console, bringing up patterns of communication across the Eularian Council. "We'll trace anomalies in their network, cross-reference timestamps with the incidents, and monitor suspicious behavior. We need evidence that is undeniable, precise, and public." Over the next few days, they worked tirelessly, analyzing logs, interviewing witnesses, and using advanced algorithms to detect irregular patterns. Jason marveled at how humans and Eularians could complement each other. Humans' intuition and adaptability balanced Eularians' analytical precision. Together, they uncovered subtle signs of manipulation. Unauthorized access codes, hidden communication channels, and deliberate misreporting of events. Finally, they had the evidence. A small faction of Eularian traditionalists, operating covertly, had engineered the incidents. Their goal was clear: make humans appear reckless, justify stricter control, and assert dominance over Terran operations. Jason and Alira knew what had to be done next. The Council needed to see the truth, and the extremists needed to be exposed. But timing was crucial. An immediate public accusation could provoke panic or even violence. They needed a controlled, transparent presentation. The day of the Council hearing arrived. The chamber was filled with Eularians of every rank, and tension hung thick in the air. Jason and Alira presented their findings with clarity, showing detailed evidence of sabotage, including timelines, communication logs, and engineering reports. "This was deliberate," Jason said firmly. "Our teams responded immediately, prevented disaster, and documented every step. Humans acted responsibly and efficiently. The individuals responsible tried to manipulate perception, not just systems. Their goal was to provoke conflict and undermine trust. Alira added, "We have cross-verified every detail. The evidence is undeniable. The responsible parties are among your council traditionalists, attempting to assert control over Terran operations through deception." Murmurs ran through the chamber. Some council members gasped, while others whispered among themselves, stunned by the revelation. The extremists shifted uneasily, realizing that their actions had been exposed. Saralith stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. "This evidence confirms what I have feared. Attempts to manipulate perception and create mistrust will not be tolerated. Humans have demonstrated responsibility, skill, and integrity. Their actions prevented disaster, even when sabotaged by members of our own council." One of the extremists, a tall Eularian with sharp, curved horns, stepped forward angrily. "This is preposterous. We did nothing wrong." Jason met his gaze steadily. "The data does not lie. Systems were manipulated, communications intercepted, and reports falsified. Your attempts to provoke conflict are documented in detail. The Council now has the choice to act based on truth or continue deception." The chamber fell silent. Even the most vocal extremists could not dispute the evidence. Their power relied on secrecy and manipulation. And now, both were gone. After a tense pause, Saralith spoke again. "The Council will deliberate. But the actions of these individuals are unacceptable. Humans have proven their capability and integrity. Attempts to undermine trust between our species will not succeed." The extremists glared, but they were isolated, their influence diminished. Jason felt a surge of relief. Yet he knew the struggle was far from over. Shadows still lingered, and trust remained fragile. Outside the chamber, Alira placed a hand on Jason's arm. "You did it. You showed them humans can act responsibly, even under pressure." Jason shook his head slightly. "We did it. Humans and Eularians, together. But this is only one battle. The extremists will try again. And next time, the stakes could be higher." Alira nodded thoughtfully. "Then we prepare. We anticipate. We stay ahead. That's how we protect the future." Over the following days, the Council implemented reforms to prevent further sabotage. Monitoring systems were strengthened, communication protocols improved, and collaboration between humans and Eularians increased. The extremists were watched closely, unable to act without risking exposure. Despite these measures, Jason remained vigilant. He knew that trust was not won once it had to be continually earned. Every decision, every interaction, could reinforce or undermine the fragile alliance. One evening, Jason stood on the balcony overlooking the forest, the twin moons casting silver light across the trees. Alira joined him silently, the air between them filled with unspoken understanding. "The galaxy is watching," Jason said softly. "Every move we make sets an example. Humans are no longer observers, they are participants. And our actions will be judged." Alira nodded. "And we will show them what humans are capable of: courage, creativity, resilience. We will prove that cooperation is stronger than fear, and that trust can be built even in the darkest shadows." Jason smiled faintly, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. The extremists had been exposed, but the journey was far from over. Humanity had placed its bet, and now it was time to play wisely, carefully, and boldly. As the city settled into quiet, Jason reflected on the events of the past days. The sabotage attempt had tested human ingenuity and resilience, and the response had been decisive. The Eularians had seen humanity's strength, not in power or weapons, but in adaptability, intelligence, and integrity. Alira broke the silence. "Jason, do you think my mother ever doubted us?" Jason looked at her, his expression calm. "She tested us, not because she doubted humans, but because she understood that the galaxy does not forgive weakness. She wanted to see if we could rise to the challenge. And we did." Alira smiled, a mixture of relief and pride in her eyes. "Then we continue. The extremists may return, but we are ready. Together, Humans and Eularians can overcome anything. Jason nodded. Yes, and when the next challenge comes, we will face it not with fear, but with confidence. Humanity has shown it can rise to the occasion. And we will continue to rise, no matter what shadows appear. The twin moons reflected in their eyes, a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the opportunities it held. For now, the crisis was averted, the extremists exposed, and trust strengthened. But Jason knew the future held more trials, more shadows, and more opportunities for humans to demonstrate their potential. He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility, and yet also a quiet thrill. Humanity was no longer small, no longer distant. They had made their mark, and now the galaxy would watch closely, waiting to see if they could live up to their promise. Alira squeezed his hand, her eyes meeting his with unwavering confidence. "We will," she said simply. Jason nodded, feeling a sense of unity and determination. Together, they would continue to face the challenges ahead, guiding humanity toward its place among the stars, and proving that even in the darkest times, intelligence, courage, and trust could prevail. The Eularian capital glimmered under twin suns, its crystalline towers reflecting brilliant colors across the valley. Jason Mercer stood in the central council chamber, surrounded by the very beings who had watched humanity with skepticism and fear. This was the culmination of weeks of tension, sabotage, and careful diplomacy. Everything rested on the actions of a few individuals and on humanity's ability to prove that it could rise above manipulation and fear. Alira stood beside him, her hand lightly brushing his. She, too, understood the stakes. Her mother, High Matriarch Seralith, presided over the council from her elevated seat. Her eyes, calm yet piercing, watched every face in the room. Jason had come to understand that the matriarch's gaze could see more than appearances. It could see potential, motives, and even unspoken truths. "Jason Mercer," Seralith began, her voice echoing through the chamber. "We face a final test. The extremists who sought to destabilize our trust in humanity have made one last move. We have reason to believe they plan to launch a coordinated strike on multiple Terran colonies. Their goal is to provoke conflict, undermine cooperation, and place humans in a position where failure seems inevitable." A hush fell over the council. Some members whispered nervously. Others looked at the humans with thinly veiled suspicion. The extremists were clever, and their last attempt could ignite war. Jason inhaled deeply, steadying himself. "High Matriarch, council members," he began. "We do not come unprepared. We have anticipated their actions, analyzed their methods, and developed solutions. Humanity will not react recklessly. Instead, we will act with intelligence, precision, and cooperation. This is not only a test of our capability, it is a chance to prove that humans can be trusted as partners." Alira stepped forward, her voice calm but resolute. "We have coordinated with Terran engineers, Eularian technicians, and neutral observers. We have established protocols to detect, neutralize, and repair any damage before it can escalate. The extremists' plan, while cunning, will not succeed." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some council members still doubted, but others nodded, impressed by the clarity and thoroughness of the humans' preparation. Jason felt a quiet surge of determination. Humans had faced countless challenges, and now they were poised to meet one that could define their place in the galaxy. The chamber's communication system pinged, displaying real-time alerts from multiple Terran colonies. Jason studied the reports. Subtle anomalies, minor disturbances, and the beginnings of the extremists' coordinated strike. Each incident was small on its own, but together, they formed a network of potential chaos. "Here," Jason said, pointing to the display. "This is where the extremists aim to strike. But we've already deployed countermeasures. Automated diagnostics, remote repairs, and rapid response teams are in place. We will prevent disruption before it can spread." Seralith nodded, her eyes thoughtful. You speak with confidence. Yet I ask, can humans act under simultaneous pressure across multiple fronts, without succumbing to panic or error? Jason's gaze met hers steadily. Yes. Humans have the ability to adapt and solve problems creatively. We learn quickly, coordinate effectively, and make decisions even under stress. These colonies will remain safe because we have prepared for every scenario we can anticipate, and we will respond to surprises as they come, Alira added. We've also monitored Eularian extremists. Their communications, movements, and intentions are being tracked. No action will occur unnoticed. Transparency and observation ensure that humans act responsibly while preventing escalation. The matriarch's eyes softened slightly. Very well. Then let the final test begin. Jason and Alira coordinated the response from the council chamber. Reports streamed in from every affected colony. Minor system disruptions, automated defense anomalies, and false warnings designed to create panic. The humans responded swiftly, sending repair teams, rerouting power, and neutralizing any sabotage attempts. Alira's advanced analytical algorithms detected patterns and predicted the extremists' next moves, allowing teams to preemptively counter them. Hours passed, each moment tense. The extremists attempted every trick they could, falsified reports, manipulated communications, and minor attacks on equipment, but the humans' preparations held firm. Every challenge was met with calm, intelligent solutions. Systems were repaired, colonies stabilized, and no escalation occurred. Finally, a report came in from the outermost Terran colony. A small faction of extremists had attempted a direct attack, hoping to sabotage power grids and provoke retaliation. Jason coordinated remotely, guiding local engineers through repairs and neutralizing threats without violence. Within minutes, the crisis was averted. Alira breathed a sigh of relief. They've failed, she said softly. Every attack, neutralized. Jason allowed himself a small smile. Not just neutralized, handled efficiently, with minimum disruption. Humans have shown they can respond under pressure, and we've done so without escalating conflict. The council chamber erupted in murmurs. Some Eularians clapped quietly, impressed by the display of competence. The extremists, their plan defeated, sat in stunned silence. Their influence was gone, their credibility shattered. Seralith rose from her seat, her voice commanding attention. Council members, the humans have demonstrated not only capability but integrity. Every challenge was met with intelligence, coordination, and responsibility. Those who sought to undermine trust have failed. It is now clear that humanity can stand as equals, partners in cooperation and progress. Jason felt a deep sense of accomplishment, but he did not allow himself to relax. He knew the galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but in this moment, humanity had proven itself. Alira stepped beside him, her eyes shining. Jason, we've done it. They've seen what humans can achieve. Jason nodded. Yes. But this is only the beginning. Humanity has placed its bet, and now we must continue to prove that we are worthy of trust. Wherever the galaxy takes us. Seralith approached them, her presence both imposing and reassuring. She placed a hand on Jason's shoulder. You have exceeded expectations. Jason Mercer. Humanity has shown it can rise to challenges not with brute force, but with intelligence, resilience, and cooperation. I now see humans not as unpredictable outsiders, but as true partners. Jason felt a quiet pride. Thank you, High Matriarch. We will continue to act responsibly, to learn, and to build trust. Humanity has much to offer, and we intend to show it through actions, not words alone. Alira smiled, her hand brushing his. And we will do it together. Humans and Eularians, side by side. Seralith's expression softened further. Indeed. Trust, once earned, must be nurtured. Today, you have taken the first step in ensuring a future of cooperation and shared growth. May this alliance flourish. The council chambers echoed with a sense of accomplishment. The extremists, now exposed and powerless, could no longer manipulate events. Trust between humans and Eularians was strengthened, and the path forward was clear. That night, Jason and Elira returned to the balcony overlooking the crystalline city. The twin moons shone brightly, reflecting their light across the forest below. The city was calm, the immediate danger past, and the future seemed filled with possibility. Jason took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the quiet thrill of achievement. Elira. Humanity has shown it can rise to challenges beyond imagination. We've proven that even when shadows appear, we can act with intelligence, courage, and integrity. Elira leaned against him, her eyes reflecting the moon's light, and will continue to do so. There will always be new challenges, but humans are adaptable. We learn, we grow, and we rise to the occasion. Jason looked out at the vast horizon, the endless stars promising adventures, challenges, and opportunities. Humanity had placed its bet, and they had met it with courage and determination. Now, they were no longer just observers in the galaxy, they were participants, partners, and a force capable of shaping the future. In the quiet of the night, Jason felt a profound sense of purpose. The High Matriarch's question, asked in a moment of private scrutiny weeks ago, had been answered. Humanity had proven itself not through arrogance or strength, but through intelligence, resilience, and the unwavering determination to act responsibly. Elira squeezed his hand. The galaxy is watching, Jason. And now, they see humanity for what we truly are: capable, courageous, and worthy of trust. Jason nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. Yes. And this is only the beginning. Together, humans and Eularians can face anything. We will continue to rise, no matter what the future holds. The twin moons reflected in their eyes, a symbol of hope, possibility, and the enduring potential of humanity. Shadows had tested them. Extremists had tried to manipulate them, and danger had threatened them. But through intelligence, cooperation, and courage, they had prevailed. Jason and Elira stood together, looking out at the galaxy that awaited them. Humanity had answered the question. Humanity had proven its worth. And the story of trust, partnership, and interstellar cooperation had only just begun. The future was vast, full of challenges, yes, but also full of potential. And humanity, unpredictable yet capable, would rise to meet it, proving once and for all that even the smallest species could shine brightly among the stars.